Yeah. Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what to do, everybody? It's your boy, John Altidor with Pro Fan Sports Podcast, where the fans of the pros go back at you with another one with my boys Vlad and Barry and our special guest, Benor Lewis. What's good, y'all?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? Excited as always for another show with our special guest. And yeah, we're on to episode 54, the Big 5-4. So let's get to it.
Yes, sir.
Super happy to be here. Thank you, guys. Also, congratulations for making over a year in your podcast. That's dope.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm ready to get started. Get to it.
Appreciate it, man. Like Barry said, episode 54 on this show, you know, we usually give out a few jersey numbers based on episodes we're going. So I'm going to go first this time. Teddy Bruschi, 54.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You stole mine.
Yeah. It's also Dante Hightower.
Hightower, right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And since we're talking linebackers, Brian Urlacher.
Brian Urlacher was a GOAT. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Who else you got?
So then we got Horace Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we also got a couple more linebackers and Bobby Wagner from the Seahawks.
Yep. He could end up in the hall one day. You know, he's
had a really good career so far. So who knows? He could be there. We got Levante David from the Bucks. The Super
just
Bowl
won that
champions.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then we got this one will make you laugh. Kwame Brown.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah. I know. I know why I put him on my list, but
you're gonna make Kobe roll in his grave, dude. Like, Kwame Brown. That's crazy.
For real.
Do you have any of Vonora, Lewis?
Yeah. Any 54s you could think of?
Oh, your girl didn't know that. So
That's cool.
It's cool. We be doing it off the top. You know what I'm saying? Off the top.
No, sometimes I do come up with a list on the show and look that up, but mostly it's off the top of the dome.
Nevertheless, you know, it's episode 54. And before we start the show, I'll invite you to please follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, profans_sports. Our page is pretty popping, so you want to get on there and follow it. You know what I'm saying? We're on twitter.com/profansports, facebook.com/profansports. And if you're watching on YouTube, of course, click the subscribe button, notification button, and that's youtube.com/profansports. We drop every Tuesday morning on all podcasting platforms, and the videos drop on Wednesday, so be sure to tune into those. And before we get into Vonora a little bit and check about her background and what she's doing out there, we're also going to be talking about the NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, B-Money lifestyle. We got a couple questions of the week. So before we get into the NBA segment, I wanted to give Vonora a little chance to talk about herself, because I know you have a sports podcast yourself. You've been affiliated with some people, and you're also launching something pretty special. So tell the viewers what's going on.
well, hi everybody. My name is Benor Lewis. I am a sports podcaster, sports writer, sports personality as well. I am originally from New York. I'm now located in DC. I have written for about 15 different websites covering the NBA, WNBA, and the NFL. I would say my deep connection with the NBA and NFL is because I love basketball. I grew up around basketball. I grew up around football. Those are two things I personally love. I was an athlete growing up, so I played football. I was a wide receiver for a whole year. And
you might want to help the Patriots.
Yeah, they could use some help with that
Can't throw it, I'll
department.
catch it. And, I also played soccer, field hockey, ice hockey, and I cheerleaded for 15 years on top of all of that. So sports has been in my life. I'm one of 8 kids. My brothers, all 6 of them, play football. So football, again, was my life. And only 2 of my brothers play basketball. I just love basketball. I've always been very, very connected to it since I was a very, very young child. Going to the Knicks games down in the Garden has been a treat for life. Also, I have my own podcast called The V Report. It's under the MTMV Sports Podcast Network, where I cover sports news, NBA, NFL, and WNBA. I'll bring in I'm a New York girl, so I talk about the Yankees a lot. So I talk about my Yankees on there. And that's about it. 'Cause I have no baseball knowledge besides my Yankees. And that they're better than me, Red Sox. Other than that, that's all I know. Yankees are better than the Red Sox. So I will always.
Whoa.
See, you invite people to the show, and then this is the stuff they
Hey,
do.
this is what
They
happens,
pull right on
bruh.
air, you know?
Oh, right off the rip.
Say
Right.
it. What you want me to do? The ring say it. But anyway, so I trash talk a lot. Y'all know that have been following me. I trash talk a lot. So yes, that's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I have also launched my own foundation called the VL Foundation. So my foundation focuses on adolescents who've experienced the loss or abandonment of a parent or guardian. So this is adolescents who unfortunately lost their parents, have had a parent or parents have stepped out of their lives, being raised by others. And my foundation, we just provide them with services such as counseling, college prep, and mentorship, and workforce prep. So we help kids get ready for either one, deal with the fact that that huge grief of loss and abandonment first. Then we definitely take them to looking for either going the college route or the workforce prep route. So we prepare them for getting a job, how to write a resume. On the other side, we also got the PSATs, SATs, ACTs, how to apply for college, FAFSA, all that, mixed in with that. We have mentors that are from different walks of life, different levels of, in the community they serve in, working with these kids as well. So it's a foundation that definitely just goes gung-ho. I'm gung-ho in because I actually experienced that myself. I lost both of my parents young. So that's something that I'm a product of it. I know how it turns out at the end. So especially when you do it with the right materials. So I am definitely doing that in DC. Is also, we have another location we're looking at as Tennessee as another place. But yeah, that's my foundation, which started March 15th. And we already got a bunch of stuff going on. So
Congrats.
thank you.
For
Thank
sure.
you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for just having me on here to talk about that. And yeah, so I'm here to talk about my Yankees, my Knicks, my Giants, Lord have mercy. And let's get it popping. Thank you guys.
We'll make sure to, if you can send us a link to your foundation, we'll make sure to include it in the description of our podcast. Everything you said was amazing. Like, you do so much. Like, I don't even know how you do that. But
Thank you.
And thanks for sharing your story about, you growing up and your parents. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for this. I will definitely send my link, and thank you guys for listening.
Nah, for sure. I second that, Vlad, for sure. And congratulations, for launching. Not a lot of people get to launch foundations out there, and you're doing that on your own. So it's also Women's Month, and we can't have Women Month go by without having a woman on the show. So thank you for being our woman representative.
Well, that makes me even feel better. Yeah, I'm very, very honored to be here.
Vonora, before we start the show, before we start talking about the NBA, I just wanted to ask you, like, what does it mean to you to be a woman of color in the sports industry, and just to be a woman in the sports industry?
Oh, I would love to answer that question. It's something I don't take it for granted, because being in the industry is difficult. There's a lot of challenges to advance and to move up and to become more popular, become somebody that you see more and more. It's very difficult because a lot of people do not take you seriously. They think you're here for the wrong reasons. And it's something that I've definitely ran into early in my career doing this. Especially in my early 20s, I started writing when I was 23. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't easy. It was like no one really took it seriously. Even family don't take it seriously sometimes. Yeah. But like when I got with the right team, I saw myself being able to advance more and be able to have my words used, and be able to not have to look to, and I'll be honest, to a man for point of reference when it comes to a stat or about a player. I can actually just provide it, and now I'm looked to as a source instead. So that has been something that I do not take for granted. I will tell young women that it is difficult, but don't give up, because there's always an audience that listens to you. I have a lot of amazing women in sports that I look up to. I get to connect with on a daily basis that help me.
Do you mind sharing some of those women that you look up to?
Sure, I would love to. Keisha Stratford, she's a new girl. She's a new woman that's in sports, but she is also somebody that I talk to personally. I have a good connection with. I would also like to bring up all their names. Kelsey Nicole Nelson. She is a great reporter out in DC. We have a great connection. I love the fact that she is able to, we're the same age, and that's crazy to me because I look so much older than this child. But she definitely has been in the game for a while, and she's able to just talk to me one-on-one about it and be real with it. And I appreciate that. That's why I cherish more the realness. Ashley Baker is another one that I've been able to connect with, especially through this amazing thing called Clubhouse, y'all. So those y'all know, I met John Clubhouse. Like Clubhouse definitely helped me connect with these women and work my way up. Another one, Renee Washington. She's also out in DC. Another amazing young sports talent. And also, of course, Janelle Hill. I watch all of her things. I read all of her writings. I used to watch his and her podcast, but it was on ESPN before I was on the phone. So I was in it for a long time. Carrie Champion.
Carrie.
Yeah, Carrie's my girl. I remember Carrie was on first.
Another good one.
I was in high school watching Carrie Champion. I used to be like, I want to be Carrie. I'll be Carrie. I'll be a lawyer. Whichever one happens first is what I'm gonna go with. And even listen, Molly Curran. I also look to her as a source. I love her take on football. I love to see her outside of First Take and doing things she does. So it's just a lot of women that they do more than just sit and navigate the debates. They actually have their own shows and have their own podcasts, and I like to definitely connect with them that way. So those are some of the women that I personally look up to in sports, and there's so many more. So the list goes on and on, but I am so happy to follow in their footsteps to try to continue to build my brand.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that, and I'm sure your story will be an inspiration to other young girls that wants to get into this industry. I have another question, and I'm gonna let you guys go.
Go ahead, Vlad. You asking some great questions.
Right. You're on the road, Vlad. Do your thing.
What got you into sports? And I guess the other question is, what made you want to start a sports podcast?
Okay. What made me like sports was my dad. My dad, like, I'm only a diehard fan of the teams I named, the Giants, the Knicks, the Yankees, and the Rangers because of my dad. My dad would put it on TV, and I wasn't allowed to change the channel. So if I was going to be hanging out, I got to sit and watch. And it went from sitting and watching to us arguing to cheering to drawing out our own maps. I'll tell you, so many maps we've drawn out about how the Giants are going to the Super Bowl. If these people lose, we have to win this game. These 10 people must lose for us to get the playoffs. So like it'd be something like that. I've been doing that since like 5 and 6. And as I continue to grow up, that became something else that me and my godfather would do as well. We just start drawing maps by my Knicks. Like, okay, if we get rid of Dolan, maybe we can get.
Oh, please get rid of that.
I'm just saying.
Get rid of Dolan.
We've had this conversation. Like, we got this person to go. Maybe we can get these people to come. When Katie and Kyrie about to come over, I remember calling my dad, like, it's possible. He's like, oh my God, hope. So like, I've been in sports since then, and them playing as an athlete, because I'll say right now, I cannot play basketball to save my life. I am trash, the worst. But I will talk about you like I know I'm a WNBA. So like I learned that young, can't play basketball, but I'm very good at soccer. I was great at went to states in track, cheerleader, national 5-time national champion cheerleader, dancer,
Nice.
all the above. So once I got in that competitive spirit, and it was just manifested. So when I got into the sports industry later on, it was just bound to happen at some angle. I was going to take it through the agent route, the lawyer route. There were different ways I was looking at it when I was going from college to my professional life, but that's how it all was manifested. And what made me start my sports podcast was I didn't get once Carrie and Jamel were on TV more, their podcasts have stopped coming out as much, and I would listen to their podcast and the Joe Budden podcast. The two things I listen to all the time. So when I stopped hearing the girls as much, I was like, well, we still need a podcast that, you know, that one makes us laugh, that brings us news that we can, we will, you know, the average girl will understand. Because there are women that like sports. Women like sports because men like sports too. Like they want to hang out with their guy. And some of them just like it because it's just a lot of fun to watch, like me. Like I watch basketball by myself.
Some of them watch it, you know, for the tights and stuff and uniform.
Some don't watch it because you trying to see who.
Let's keep it 100 here, you know.
I'll keep it. All I do is keep it 100 now. Now some of them look at, you know, we watch it sometimes because we want to see who can put the ring on the finger too. Don't play. But at the same time, some of them actually are watching it.
Oh, dang, you went there.
I'm just gonna be real. I was 100.
There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
do.
No, there isn't.
You think if Cam Newton don't let me know, okay? Because I'm all he got to do when and where. That's all I need to know. But like we all watch for different reasons, and I wanted to definitely just. I felt like that was my avenue into the life because writing is fun. But I like to talk about it. I like to actually people hear my voice and hear what I have to say more than just read my stuff and then send me some crazy review. So like that's what got me into the podcasting realm of it, and I've never looked back since.
Well, welcome. Welcome. How long you been doing your podcast actually?
For a year and 3 months.
Oh, you should be welcoming us. My bad.
Right. No, man. Once again, congratulations, Vonora. I tell you, you know, you gotta advertise yourself out there because you got dope stuff going on.
Y'all got my business on the mic now.
I have to put her out there. You know, she's doing really big things. You know, and we're proud to have you on the show for sure. So let's get into some sports, man. NBA. You know, one of the best parts of the NBA just took place, which is the NBA deadline. You know, you see guys flying left and right, and some guys actually have to sit on the bench because teams don't want to play them anymore, and they didn't find a trade partner. So let's talk about it a little bit. We got some news that went on at the trade deadline. Aaron Gordon was traded to the Nuggets. Nikola Vucevic from Orlando Magic, both guys from Orlando Magic, he got traded to the Bulls. Victor Oladipo. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did.
What?
Oh, yeah, That's right. Yep, he sure did.
Yep. That's Aaron Gordon got traded to the Nuggets, and Nikola Vucevic got traded to the Bulls. So they're blowing that thing up. It's crazy. Victor Oladipo went from Houston to the Heat now, you know, so now they got an even better lineup going on over there. LaMarcus Aldridge signed with the Nets after a contract buyout with the Spurs. So now, you know, the Nets got even more firepower. We'll see how he does. You know, it's crazy. Rajon Rondo went from the Hawks to the Clippers. So now the Clippers have a real point guard going on. JJ Redick to the Mavericks. You know, I mean, I hope he makes the playoffs again. Are the Mavericks in the standings for it right now? Team. Are they in the picture right now?
They're in eighth place right now.
Okay, is there like a fringe? They were a fringe playoff team, you know, to start the season. So I'd like to see them in the playoffs for sure.
I'm sure they'll get there.
Yeah, Norman Powell went from the Toronto Raptors to the Portland Blazers for Gary Trent Jr. And the funny thing I saw about that was his father got traded from the Trailblazer to Toronto.
Yep.
On the same kind of trade 20 years later or something like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, father
that
and
was
son.
pretty ironic.
Yeah.
I heard about that too. That's pretty crazy.
No, that's awesome.
Surreal.
JaVale McGee went from the Cavaliers to the Nuggets. Everybody's loading up, man. Everybody's loading up. Andre Drummond went to the Lakers, so Lakers got another piece. After the Cavs buyout, people are moving. Nemanja Bjelica, I think that's how you say his name. He got traded from the Kings to the Heat, so that they got to figure out. He's a 3-point specialist, so they got to figure out how to use him.
As if they needed another one.
Right,
So they
right.
already got
As
a
if,
lot over there.
Robinson and Hero ain't good
Tyler
enough.
Hero, right.
It's crazy.
Up from 3.
Dylan Wright got traded from the Pistons to the Kings. Kyle Lowry actually was rumored to be going from the Raptors all season, and he ended up staying over there. They love that boy. They probably should have a statue for him. Philly traded for George Hill. They got another guard in there. Austin Rivers was waived by the Thunder, and he's expecting to sign with the Bucks. That's a move I didn't really understand. Like, Austin Rivers, he's like still in his prime, I feel like, right?
Yeah, he still is. He's still young and right, and it is a thing like late 20s. So, he's definitely still got a good amount left in his career. I'm not too surprised about the move. He's a guy that's been moved around a lot. But I'm glad, he certainly found a playoff contender to go to instead of being stuck on the Thunder, who are clearly tanking and rebuilding right now.
Right. They got like 80 picks, in the first and second rounds in the next 2 years or whatever that is. Al Horford, our old guy, Al Horford from OKC as well. He is being shut down for the season because that's how the NBA works. They're on a youth movement right now, and Al Horford is definitely not youthful. So he's going to be sitting on the bench for the rest of the season. Next year, they're going to try and figure out a way to rework his contract so that he could find a team that suits him better. That's kind of wild. But out of all these things, what were you guys surprised about? Anything? Did you guys feel like any team got better, got worse? What were your thoughts on the trade deadline trades?
I think the Heat definitely got better. Adding Oladipo, adding another 3-point specialist. I think that's making them more than a playoff team. I feel as though they're gonna go further than the Celtics for sure. Right now they're in 8th place, but I feel as though by the end of the season they might be in 4th place or something like that. But yeah, I think.
Wait, the Heat are in what place right now?
They're in 8th right now, right on behind the Celtics.
Wow, things are moving because they were at 5th just like a week ago, and now that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway. Apart from the Celtics takeaway, which we'll talk about later, my biggest takeaway was definitely the Heat getting better. Rajon Rondo to the Clippers was a big move too.
Yeah.
I think Rajon Rondo is a championship caliber player when he's on the team, like just because he's so smart.
Right. I also forgot to mention that Rajon Rondo got traded for Lemon Pepper Lou. Who now, he'll be at Magic City near you soon.
Right. For real.
And I guess another big news was LaMarcus Aldridge signing with the Nets.
Yeah.
So the Nets just keep getting better. The rich kids just keep getting richer.
Yep, unfortunately.
Barry, what's your thoughts on the trade deadline?
Yes, thought it was a pretty interesting and compelling trade deadline. Certainly a lot of, teams were active and made good moves. I think, thing that moves that stick out to me, like the Nuggets, I think they, really certainly got better with the Aaron Gordon trade, getting him, I think, adding him to that young core that they already have of, Jokic and Jamal Murray and, Michael Porter. That's definitely a really strong, core that they could have for the years to come. And I certainly think, they're a contender in the West, without question. Think, you're certainly right. The Heat, got better. They're adding, a couple of guys that, can help, and Oladipo, who they didn't really have to give up much for, but I know he was an expiring contract.
Yeah.
So and he wasn't gonna, re-sign with them. So, he knew he was on his way out. And was going to be shipped. So they certainly got better, and also adding that 3-point shooter from the Kings. Like I said, as if they didn't have already enough lethal 3-point shooters that can light it up from 3. So, those guys got better. The Bulls certainly got better with that, Vucevic trade.
I'm so annoyed by that, man.
But I'm annoyed and pissed about that, definitely got, under my skin without, question, because, there was a certain team that could have made a move for him, and
a certain team.
and that should have made a move for him, but they unfortunately didn't do that. I'm still trying to figure out as we speak why, but nonetheless, he definitely makes the Bulls better, adding another all-star big man to marketing, who that young big man that they have in Zach LaVine, who's been an all-star this year, and he's been really balling and playing well. So, and then they also added Tice too. So I think they had a really good trade deadline. And and also they had the Clippers getting Rondo. That was a really good move for them. Getting a much-needed point guard and floor general that can facilitate and run the offense, because that's something they needed, because they didn't really have that on their roster, since Lou Will's more of a scorer and a guy that is about getting buckets and getting his shot. So I think those were the biggest moves that stood out to me in this trade deadline.
For sure. And Vonora, I know I didn't report on anything that the Knicks are doing, right? But I mean, what were your thoughts? And did the Knicks make any moves that you thought were notable?
No, Knicks didn't. The Knicks were nicking, so they just didn't do nothing necessary. But the biggest thing, like I am shocked, to agree with Vlad, was how good the Heat just got, and we're all just talk by it. Like they got really good with Victor Oladipo. I honestly didn't think he was going to go to Miami. I saw that he did one out, but I didn't know he was going to go to Miami. And Miami's already a really good team. They're having a really bad season this year, but they were a solid team last year. So I think this is definitely his signing. It's going to definitely boost them back into the playoff talk. And I can never say Nikola's last name.
Vucevic.
Going to the Bulls, did not see that coming. So when you said it, I was like, wait, what? Like, when?
Yeah, how did
it was like a low-key thing, because he started and he wasn't on too many social medias.
No, I didn't know anything about it.
It just happened all of a sudden.
He's underrated, man.
My phone was beeping for everybody but him. So I'm just like, him going to the Bulls, the Bulls are just straight trash right now. So having him on the team, it's definitely going to make the energy different. He averaged 26.2 points this year so far. He's definitely going to bring some firepower to the Bulls. So I was very shocked about those two signings for sure. The Knicks, I'm never surprised by Knicks behavior. That's his Knicks. That's how they all going to be. And also, I'm annoyed with the Nets. I don't know if we're going to talk about it later.
Me too.
I'm just saying I'm annoyed.
Why you annoyed with the Nets?
Because you need all this tape down a 37-year-old man. See all of this?
He's 36.
36-year-old man.
Oh, man. I know, it's crazy. Crazy.
Like, it's just ridiculous how they build these super teams, because teams like mine ain't going to beat that. So that's not fair. So even though we did beat them. But we didn't beat this. We did not beat this. And I think that's just it's making the NBA so top heavy. Yeah. It's very one-sided and top heavy. It's only what teams are always gonna go to the finals. They're always gonna. It's like the Warriors and the Cavs all over again. I feel like this needs to be spread out. The Nets should not be able to, like you said, the rich kids keep getting richer. There gotta be some trickle down effect. They can't all be on the Nets. I thought
they won't be next year.
Well, a lot of them signed 1-year contracts, so a lot of them are not going to.
I expect disbursement next year.
Yeah.
If they win that chip, they ain't gonna be one dispersed nowhere. So I know that. But
That's
I saw
true.
Blake Griffin
No,
dunk
you're right.
and put up points. I didn't know Blake Griffin's in the league. So the fact that he's doing that on the Nets, I'm just like, see, this is annoying.
I think people got Blake Griffin fucked up. Like, I think to be honest with you, when he was on the Pistons, I thought he was the best player on the Pistons, and everybody was making a point that he wasn't dunking or whatever. And I'm like, yo, the dude is scoring. Like, even if he's not dunking, so what? But he's like, I feel as though he's developed his game a lot more than just dunks.
I think that's the problem, Vlad. He was on the Pistons.
Yeah, because
who's watching the
Exactly.
Pistons?
no one was watching.
Right,
You know,
right.
like, so people think this guy's dead while he's actually still
Not
balling.
dead.
I mean, I was hoping he would end up, you know, with our people somehow, but clearly, you know, like Vonora was saying, the league is top heavy, and you know, all the vets want to go ring chase, and I don't blame them. But at the same time, it's like, where's David Stern at? Like, why do we not say anything about
David
these?
Stern. R.I.P.
I know that, you know what I'm saying? But like, how is Adam Silver not intervening in any of these trades at all? Like, you know, I mean, it's like in one way I like it, and then another I'm like, this is not right. It's not fair.
A lot of the pickups by the Nets are buyout contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Like Aldridge and
they chose to go there. Griffin.
Yeah, Blake Griffin.
So,
right,
there's
right.
not much you can do about that.
Well, we know why they chose to go
They
there.
chose to go there because they want their ring.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame them. You know, I think it's gonna be funny if they don't get the ring. But I don't blame them.
It would be hilarious.
Vonora, is there any moves that you wish the Knicks had made?
I wish we got Victor Oladipo.
Ooh.
That would have been nice.
I was quiet about it because like maybe hope. Big hope.
Did he want to go to the Knicks at one point?
Yeah, he mentioned a few times. You know, he was at the party in New York, and he was like, "Vibe." I was like, "Hope, we have hope."
Yeah.
And when I saw the Heat, I was like, "Thank God." I was like,
"Yeah, no, for sure." For me, I think it's I'm looking at the Nuggets, man. You know, because that's a team that was doing their thing last year, even in the postseason. It looked like a real strong team that could have, you know, went far, you know, if everything worked out for them. But unfortunately, they met the Lakers at, you know, in the conference or whatever. But I'm looking at them and getting JaVale McGee. Now you got Jokic and JaVale McGee in there as big guys. One guy we don't talk about is Bobo, the rookie, which I really like him as well, but he doesn't get as many minutes as he should. And Aaron Gordon being on there makes them really strong, and I think they could actually make some noise out in the West, you know, given what we saw last year with the Clippers and everything like that. So I don't think everything's a given with the moves that's been made, like Andre Drummond. I don't know what he's going to do on the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what Aldridge is going to do on the Nets, you know, because, I mean, he's been playing for the Spurs all year. He hasn't been doing too much. Like, the guy's averaging like 4 rebounds a game or something like that, you know, as a starter. So we'll see how that goes, but I definitely like what the Nuggets did for sure. I was definitely surprised about the Al Horford news. Kind of made me sad. I'm like, damn, you know, you went from, you know, being on TV in the playoffs and year in and year out with the Celtics, and then you went money chasing, and now you're sitting on the bench for the rest of the season. So I feel bad for him. What happens if he ends up on the Celtics again? Would you guys bring him back? Would you guys accept him?
Well, I think we talked about that last week. I wish he came. I wish they traded him to the Celtics.
Right? Just do it.
You know what I mean? So I would have taken him. But by next year, he's gonna be a year older, and we might make other moves. I don't know. I think he might be too old.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that. With all due respect to Big Al Horford, you know, I liked him a lot when he was here. He certainly played really well for us in his time with the Celtics. But I think that, you know, I'd like to see them, you know, continue to play like the young big guys and not get that much older at that position. I just think he really doesn't help us as much and would bring us to the next level and where we're trying to go. So I'd definitely like to see a much more more athletic and versatile big man as opposed to a guy that's in the later part of his career and looking to end his career on a championship team. I think he'll probably go to a championship contender and try to get a ring. And I just don't think he'll fit here with the Celtics. But
You think he's gonna be like a Jared Dudley? I was kind of offensive, man.
No. Let's
my
put
fault,
some
Al.
respect
It's kind of
on
messed up.
Big Al's name. No, it definitely won't be a Jared Dudley because Jared Dudley only plays during garbage time, and Al should definitely be getting more minutes on that for sure. I think he can still is a decent player and can contribute. Coming off the bench and being a role player for a really good playoff contender.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I wouldn't want to see him back here. I just don't think it'd work out back here with the Celtics.
I know where he's gonna go. You guys know where he's gonna go?
What, the Nets?
The Nets. Of course he's gonna go to the fucking Nets.
Please,
you know what I'm saying? Like
please.
More buyout market guys. The Nets. Like that's the destination right now. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all. So some Celtics news. For our viewers. Celtics actually made a move. Well, they made a few moves at the trade deadline. Something we haven't seen in a while. I think it's been like
6 years.
6 years since the Celtics actually made a move at the trade deadline. And, our general manager catches shit every single year for it. I'm talking about Danny Ainge. So this year they actually made some move because we haven't been having the best season. It's been an up and down year. I think, are we still under 500 right now? Or are we back to 500? Because we keep going back and forth right now.
I think they're back at 500 now since they won their last 2 games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were 2 games under 500 prior to the last 2 games they won. So, yeah, they're a 500 team in the middle of the pack of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, you said that kind of sad, Barry. Cheer up, man. Cheer up. We'll be all right.
That's what kind of season it's been for the Celtics. That's why I say it in that tone.
You can see it in Barry's face. So the Celtics made some trades. Evan Fournier from the Magic. So, like I said, the Magic's just decided to blow it up this year. So he was traded for Jeff Teague and 2 second-round picks. Nothing too significant. And I think all of us on this podcast will take that. You know what I'm saying? Because second-round picks usually don't pan out to be anything anyway. Daniel Tice went to the Bulls for Mo Wagner and Luke Cornett. Mo Wagner and Luke Cornett are what, 4 and 5s?
They're big men, right?
They're big men. Mm-hmm.
I think they both can play center, so.
For sure. And I saw Luke Cornett the other day, and he dropped I think he scored 2 threes or whatever. He looked kind of smooth.
He had 8 points.
Yeah, good for him. But what are your expectations from the Celtics since the trade deadline? Do you guys like the Fournier signing, or do you guys like the signings at all?
I don't hate them, nor do I like them. I think that I expected more from Danny Ainge. I wanted Vucevic. I wanted Gordon. I'm not sure that he could have gotten both of them, but I actually wanted at least one of them. Even Oladipo, I would have taken. I just don't like Fournier is not bad. I don't know much about Mo Wagner or Luke Cornett. I get to know them now that they're on the team. Evan Fournier is not bad, but I just wanted more. I think Danny could have made the trade for Vucevic. I think Vucevic would have made us a way better team, to be honest.
Well, Vlad, how do you feel about this? Reports came out that the asking price for Vucevic from the for the Celtics was second round pick and Aaron Nesmith.
I'll send them both to the Magics. Like
I think we said no, we wouldn't send those
that's
guys.
a trade that Danny should have made. Like he should have made that trade. There's like Nesmith is not playing right now. Like we don't know what he's gonna be. A second round pick is nothing. Like you can't stay married to those guys just because you traded them. You can't stay married to a guy that's not even he's not even getting any playing time right now. Trade the guy. I think he draft these guys and he get really attached to them and he doesn't want to trade them. It's actually pretty frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, they actually offered multiple first round picks for him as well. I'm not really sure what the hiccup there is, or even Aaron Gordon, because Aaron Gordon, they offered a first round pick and a young player for him, and he ended up in the Nuggets. Barry, what are your expectations for the Celtics moving forward?
Well, hopefully they can
Well, I know you like the Fournier pick.
Do I like the pick? Yeah,
No, I know you liked it.
Yeah, of course I like the pick. That was a good trade. I'm not debating or or upset about that trade. They certainly could have gotten, like Vlad said, someone who's better than Fournier, and that could definitely have more of an impact and take this team to the next level. But he's definitely a good role player and can certainly give them what this team needs is more shooting. They needed guys that can actually make shots consistently from three, and he certainly's done that, almost shooting at 40% from three this year, and averaging nearly 20 points per game, putting up, career highs in those categories. So I think, he certainly brings things to the table that this team needs. But, they should have done more, and they clearly didn't. And I think that's where, like Vlad said, the frustration comes in, particularly with, Danny Ainge, because time and time we see this guy, almost make deals. He almost did this. He almost did that. He almost got this player, but he never comes through when it's time to come through and deliver and get these guys. And that's what really makes it, discouraging and, and aggravating, with him, is that we see this year in and year out, and we think things are gonna change, every year, but it's the same old thing, time and time again with him. And and then he didn't. I feel like you're right. He definitely didn't deliver in this trade deadline, and was underwhelming to say the least. But Fournier will certainly help this team. And because they needed more bench scoring off the bench, but the other moves I'm not too thrilled about. I understand why they kept, why they gave away Daniel Tice. They wanted to salary dump and get under the luxury tax. But those two big guys that they got, Mo Wagner and Luke Cornett, I'm not really too fond of them. I don't really expect much from those guys, and don't really think they're that good, but to be quite honest. So we'll see how they do here. Maybe a change of scenery will help. But, from what I've seen previously from those guys, I think they're, garbage time players, honestly, to tell you all the truth. But it was just a terrible overall deadline for the Celtics and for Danny Ainge. Once again, but at least he did something to I made a move to actually help the team somewhat, but just wasn't enough, clearly.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. Vonora, I mean, are you paying any attention to the Celtics at all? Did you like the trade that we got? Do you know much about Fournier at all?
I don't know much about the trade itself. I kind of, when you guys were talking about it, I was just doing a little research while this is happening, and I feel like right now you guys are in a really, like, you're teeter-tottering always like 6th and 7th place So right now you definitely need some, like more power behind it. So I'm hoping that Fournier can be a boost to your guys' team to keep you guys in the playoff division, like playoff standings. But I feel like there's more. I haven't been able to even watch your guys' games. They'll come on down here. But definitely just to to just even like keep up with stuff. I think that there's a little more pieces that need to be worked with. Just hearing what Vlad and Barry said about just how the team is run and how the head office is run. It just seems like there's a lot of connection to players, not connected to the business. So if there's players that need to go so you can have more, space and more money to flex around with, then that needs to happen. So I just think
absolutely.
So that's what it seems like has been, based on what I'm hearing, is a problem. But you definitely need more power. So I think hopefully Evan Fournier is bringing that power. But I definitely think it's time to also cut some cords.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, for me personally, I loved what Danny Ainge did. Not with the players per se, right? Not that we got like top of the line players, but Evan Fournier is definitely a good player. He's a guy that's going to come off the bench, and we finally got somebody that can come off the bench and get us points. You know what I'm saying? Like what he does, he's able to get to the basket. He's good on mid range. He's good at the 3-point line as well. So I really like that. From the starters, he can go out there and continue doing what he was doing in Orlando. He can help out, a kid like Pritchard, out there that's trying to run the second team and stuff like that. So I definitely like that. But why I liked it even more was, like we were saying, like we haven't made a move like that in 6 years. And I think for our guys, for our young guys, this is a good thing because we've been like cruising with the same group for like years and years. And it's like every single year, there's up and downs and, they're yelling at each other in the locker room. And it's like, yo, if you guys don't start playing well, we're going to ship your ass out of here. You know what I'm saying? And in that standpoint, I like that because the game after the trade deadline, these guys came out swinging and they was playing really hard in that game, and they were draining like pretty much every single three in that game, it seemed like, and they were still shorthanded. Fournier didn't play, and they still took care of business. I believe it was against the Bucks, where they actually went out there and did what they had to do. We didn't have like that fourth quarter breakdown where the Bucks brought it down to 2 and then we're clawing at the end of the game. It had some consistency to it. And even in the next games that they played, didn't start off too hot. I think it was OKC. They got a whole bunch of new players. Don't know too much about them. They came out hot. We didn't, and we rallied back and won that game. So in that standpoint, I really do like what Danny Ainge did. And hopefully that opens us up, to actually making a real move in the summer. I mean, in the off season, you know what I'm saying, without worrying about, who we're going to trade, because clearly, like, some of these guys need to go. And we still have some of them on the team that we can use to ship, in other deals. So I definitely like to see that moving forward from Danny Ainge. And maybe he's been hearing what we've been saying all year, right? Because, everybody's been telling him, dude, you gotta do something.
Right, I hope so. I hope he's been hearing something.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely I'm disappointed by, all the players that want to go straight into, superstar teams that are super loaded and not really trying to like go somewhere where they actually have to work. Like if a Drummond comes here, he's like a focal point on the Celtics right now, as opposed to going to the Lakers. He's going to do some stuff there, but, he's going to be like the 4th, 5th option on that team, automatically. So it's just like,
well, he'll be getting a lot of run over there while LeBron and AD are hurt. And I
down.
think that was a factor.
Down. You know what I'm saying?
They're going to be out for a while, and he's going to be, a focal point and, and someone that they, they prioritize in their offense and stuff. So I think that was a big, reason why he decided to sign over there as opposed to over here. He'd be sharing minutes with, Time Lord Williams and Tristan Thompson when he gets back. So I feel like he felt like that was a better opportunity for him to showcase what he can do with the Lakers as opposed to come with the Celtics.
Right. Andre Drummond is so good. He was on the buyout market. So we'll see how good he is.
No, he's nice, man.
With the Lakers.
17 and 13, John.
I know, but I know that
man.
a lot of it is empty stats. They don't really like impact winning. You know what I mean? Because he was on the Cavs.
Well, he's on the Cavs. Like, how can you impact winning on the Cavs?
I'm just saying, man. Even on the Pistons, he wasn't impacting winning.
That's the Pistons, right? Two trash teams and organizations. Like, right? That you can't really get,
I can't expect a guy that's heavily touted to actually be doing something on these teams. But nevertheless, he chose them, and that's what he's gonna do. And we were left with our hands empty. When it comes to the big names, anyway, right? One thing I keep hearing about is Demarcus Cousins, right? And I think one of our viewers asked that: do the Celtics need help at center from Demarcus Cousins? Because I think he's been on the buyout. Because he got released.
He's available.
He got released by Houston, right?
Yeah. So he's a free agent. Yeah.
Would you guys entertain that idea?
With the Celtics?
Yeah.
This question came from Gillette Paul. Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to Gillette Paul, one of our biggest fans.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I think I would entertain it for sure. I think we need size. I mean, we got those two players that we don't know much about. I mean, Demarcus Cousins is not playing his best basketball right now because he had basically 2 years of not playing basketball, especially with the injuries. So it's taking him a little bit to be what he used to be. But I think I would want to see what he is with the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, Barry, go ahead.
Man, I would say to bring him in, but I just don't know, guys, on how much he has left in the tank and whether he can make sort of any impact and contribute on this team. So I don't think it'd be the best idea. I get that they need more size, especially if something happens to Time Lord, then we're kind of really screwed. But I don't know if he's the best guy.
We got Taco
for them to bring in. Yeah, but Taco's not ready and it's still.
I love saying that because the Boston fans like, yo, put Taco in the game. It's like, dude, he's not ready.
Right. He hasn't developed yet, right? He's still got a lot of developing in his game to do in order to be a key rotation player, on any team in the NBA. So he still has a ways to go in regard to that. But I just think Demarcus Cousins is a shell of himself. Like, I really don't think, he's that good of a player anymore and can help a team. I think he's even more of a liability because, doesn't play defense and, doesn't really, run the floor really well. And I know when he was on the Rockets, teams were exposing him, on that end of the floor on defense, being able to defend the pick and roll and, and run the floor since he's not really moving as well coming off those injuries. So I would probably pass and say, no, they shouldn't get Demarcus Cousins and should look elsewhere for help at center and what on the front court.
Are you a Boogie Cousins fan, Vonora?
I am. I do think that the injuries have, the mental piece of it too. Because after being injured twice and being out the way he was, I don't think he would benefit you guys that way that you need him to. Mm-hmm. I think right now I feel like he has to get once the mental is gone, everything else falls apart, and it's just been showing throughout. So after he came back, so it's just like I wouldn't rush and pick him up if I were y'all. I would, hope that he can rehab and get himself together, and I don't think that's what will help you. You don't need more problems on your team. You need more personalities on your team. You need more things simple. So I wouldn't do that if I were y'all.
Would you like him on? Would you like him on the Knicks?
No. Oh, thank you.
Yo, Venora's ruthless,
wow.
man.
Oh, she's like, nah.
I mean,
You want to
Like, don't
keep it
bring him
100.
here. We don't want him.
hey, keep it 100. No, I mean,
Nah, I feel you.
I used to like Demarcus Cousins for sure. I actually posted him yesterday, or maybe like a day before that, when Aldridge got signed by the Nets, and there was the clip where he dropped like 55, and I guess he was getting like fouls out there. He's like, I hope the world sees what's going on because this is ridiculous. So
Oh yeah, I saw that
yeah.
post on the Pro Fan
Yeah.
Sports IG. That was hilarious.
He dropped
Yeah, that was
55 that
comical.
night. He dropped
Yep,
55,
he
but
did.
those were Sacramento Kings days, and those days have been long gone.
Yes. Yes,
And
absolutely.
at one point, before the Achilles injury, there was a lot of rumors about him and the Celtics, and the rumor was his personality is too strong for Vlad. I would have loved to have him then, but that never came to fruition, and he is where he is right now for a reason. Like, for you to like be released by the Rockets, who just went on like a 20-game losing streak,
Yeah.
that says a lot about the player you've become. And like Vonora was saying, I think he does not help our situation. And
Not at all.
we have a new starter out there in the Time Lord, right? And Time Lord, his first start, he actually messed around and did really well. He showed up on.
Out. Looked
He
good.
balled out. He showed up on everything that has to do with stats for that night. He had points, rebounds, steals, assists, blocks. He had everything that night. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how he grows because, in the NBA, you only get better the more playing time you get, if you're not getting that time. And I think that's the reason why we traded Daniel Tice as well, right? Because, like, we need some time for Time Lord to actually develop. Like, he keeps showing us, a lot of flashes in what he can do, from game to game. And now he's going to have some consistent minutes. I'm definitely curious to see what he does there. Another question we got.
John, just real quick on Time Lord. The only thing that concerns me, I like him too, and he's been playing really well for us, but I just don't want them to give him too many minutes because that fact, if they play him too much, then it's more likely of a chance for him to get injured, and certainly that's what's happened with him in the past is that he's been injured, and has been missed a lot of time.
Another question we got from one of our supporters, Joe Mazeka.
My guy.
Joe, shout out to Joe, man. He's been around forever. And his question is, I feel like something we talked about last week, and his question was, should Brad Stevens be fired?
Nah, I don't think he should be fired. I do want to see more from him. I want to see if he can get us over the hump. I know he's brought us to multiple Eastern Conference Finals, but I'm not quite sure if he has the what it takes to like bring you over the hump and get you to the finals. This year, I think he has a lot on his hand, so I can't blame everything that's happening this year on him because Danny Ainge didn't make the move necessary to give him the players needed to make the move. But he just signed an extension last year. I want to see what he does this year and even next year. If he can't do anything next year, if he cannot bring us to a competitive Eastern Conference final where, goes at least 7 games or get us to the finals, then I don't know. It might be time to question his methods and see what else can do the job.
Yeah, I think that certainly depends on how the rest of this season goes, for the Celtics. I think certainly I don't think he's doing a good job this year and really getting through to these guys. And I don't think his voice is, really, actually getting through to these guys enough to, get them to the next level and get them to the, direction that they need to be in and that we want to see, this young team be in, particularly in, the main guys in Tatum and Brown. I think, the guys have certainly gotten too comfortable, with him, and he hasn't really, held these guys accountable enough, as far as, the main players on the team and even the role players. So I think that if, they don't make the playoffs or even have an early exit, as far as they're losing in the play-in tournament or losing the first round, that I wouldn't be surprised if they end up letting him go at the end of the season, because just something has to change. I don't think he's a really good fit for this team anymore. I think they've already hit their peak as far as what he, where they can go with him. So, I'll looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season goes, and that will pretty much determine whether he should be here or not. So, we'll see what happens, but it wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics aren't successful the rest of the season if he's if he's gone in the off season. So we'll see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, would you fire Brad Stevens?
I'm thinking because the Celtics have made it to the playoffs. The goal, of course, your goal is to make it to get the chip, of course. Last year's Lakers, that wasn't happening. And the Miami team last year, that wasn't happening. So I can't beat up the coaches every year, because sometimes there's just, unfortunately, teams in your conference, which is why the whole top-heavy issue is starting to annoy me, is that there's some teams you just can't beat. And it's unfortunate. Like, you can have these young men want to play hard as they can, but you just can't outshoot James Harden. It just can't happen sometimes. And that's not the coach's fault. That is the system the league has created's fault, because they should not be able to stack star, and expect little guy to go up against a star, like 18 stars. That's not fair. Like, that's just like, it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to fire him yet, because I think anything is slap on the wrist first. Like, yo, get your boys gotta get back in check. Let's get this team together, because the Celtics should be better than what they are right now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think a big slap on the wrist, saying, like, not like the, like the nice slap, like, no, like snack, like, hey, pay attention, because this is, your team is starting to fall apart. Your players starting to get a little lazy and a little bit too comfortable, and you don't want to lose your job. So I think that needs to happen first before we even talk about firing. Again, you guys do get to the playoffs, which is the, one of the goals, like getting out of the regular season. Check. You can't fault him for getting y'all out of the regular season. That would be like, that's the point. Now, of course, the main point is to win the chip, but you still want to get to the playoffs, and he gets you guys to the playoffs. So his methods work, but they don't work to the finish line. He's kind of like, I would say he's more of a Taurus and Hare combined, because you still get to where you need to finish line number one, but then it's like you guys take a nap. That's when you take the nap, and then you guys end up not getting a chip, or winning out of the conference. So that's why I would say that's where the issue always is, right there. But he does get you to that first finish line, or like the halfway point, I would say. So you can't lose your job for that. But I think if it does not improve and you only get to round one or round two of the playoffs, that is going to become a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me personally, I think Brad Stevens hasn't had a bad season as a Celtics coach yet, right, since he's been here. And this year's looking like the most challenging year so far, even with the guys that we had in Kyrie and that whole dysfunctional team. You know what I'm saying? We got kicked out in the second round that year, but like Vonora was saying, we still made it to the playoffs. And I don't think one season where you're not, reaching expectations or exceeding expectation doesn't, constitute somebody getting fired, right? But at the same time, I think if this is something that's happening like next year, you could be surprised next year. Because, again, I said this on the show last week, Brad Stevens signed an extension last season, so he's here for a while, even though the details of the deal was not disclosed out there. But I can only imagine he's here for a considerable amount of time, right? Especially how the Celtics usually do things. The coaches are here for a while, if we're remembering guys like Doc Rivers. But I definitely don't think he should be fired this year at all. we got to think about roster build-up too. And that's not on Brad. That's on Danny Ainge. And if you're not giving the guy the pieces that he needs to actually make this work, because we've seen Brad make things work, you know, even when he hasn't had too many pieces, like he's made it far with guys like Isaiah Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is Isaiah Thomas doing now? So the guy constantly, you know, squeezes juice out of rocks sometimes. And I think, you know, he deserves the benefit of the doubt. Like at the end of the day, he's not really playing. We've seen what our superstars are doing. They're not really, you know, making the guys around them much better. I don't think that's their fault either, because again, they don't have the guys around them to actually make the plays. And now we actually have some guy that, you know, we can kick out a 3 to and actually hit it instead of Marcus Smart, you know, chucking up threes every time. I think will help us out a little bit. But I like Brad. You know, I definitely think he needs to add some fire to him. You know, I keep saying that in the show, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point. That's just his personality. He's just like even keeled and laid back and let the players like police themselves kind of thing. You know, sometimes that works. A lot of times it doesn't, you know, because players don't feel like they have to be accountable for stuff. And I think that's why us trading away these guys actually was good for the team, because now you can't be comfortable anymore. You know, like come trade deadline next year, your ass might be gone, you know. So, you know, you might as well play as hard as you can for this team because, you know, we're still a good team. We still got some good pieces, and I think we can go for some places if we can all get on the same page. But some of the games that we saw the Celtics play since the last pod, there was 4 games. They lost to the Grizzlies, 132-126. They lost to the Bucks the first time, 121-119. That was a game the Bucks was up by 25, and they you know, worked their way back, but couldn't make it at the end there. They played the Bucks again. This time the Celtics won 122-114. Game was not too close throughout the game. And then won against the Thunder, 114-94. Some upcoming games for the Celtics. They will play the Pelicans. Jaylen Brown will be out. So they're playing the Pelicans on the 29th. Jaylen Brown is out, and Evan Fournier will make his debut for that game. And then we got a game against the Mavericks, the Rockets, and then the Hornets, which are all at home because the Celtics are on a home stretch now because they've actually had some of the least home games throughout the season. They have the least home games throughout the season in the league right now. You know, I think they're tied for that. So,
yeah, but, you know, they do have so
they do. So it's gonna be,
which is good because they have the most home games remaining in 16, and they're on the about to start a 7-game homestand, and their fans are coming back today. So
right, fans are back.
Help them tremendously. You know, even without the full arena, you know, being full capacity, but some fans is better than no fans. So glad to see them back in the Garden.
Yeah, man. You know what? That's going to be it for the NBA segment. We're going to pivot into the NFL, where trade deadline, or was that the off season, is popping off right now, and there are things moving left and right. Players going from team to team. Again, I love the off season. I love trade deadlines. I love trading periods. I just love to see the players, you know, in new uniforms, see the pieces that are going into different places. So some NFL news, the San Francisco 49ers moved up in the draft, right? So right now they have Jimmy Garoppolo. They moved up to the number 3 spot. They sent the 12th pick and a 2022 first and third round pick and a 2023 first round pick for the Miami Dolphins, number 3 overall pick. That was a pretty hefty trade right there. So I think that's 3 first round picks, which is crazy. So that means right now the 49ers plan on taking a quarterback, right? If you're going to move up to the 3rd spot.
Yeah, most likely. That's
yeah, they need
would
one.
it be?
Do they need one since they got Jimmy Garoppolo? Or
Yeah.
I mean, oh, sorry, Nora, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say yes because Jimmy G ain't it, man. He just not. And without the quarterback, there's nothing you can do in football. Because someone gotta throw that ball. If Jimmy G wanna be here one day, out one day, broken this day, then messed up this day, it's not going to be no help to nobody.
Right.
But he got them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that was also allowing the heavy on the defense, and he has amazing weapons. But look what happened the second you take him out of the equation. Tragedy. And they need a quarterback because this young man, unfortunately, is accident prone. So we need somebody up in there in case things go bad that you can throw in there immediately to just get the system back and running. And the amount of quarterbacks that are coming out this year, they're looking for a quarterback.
Mm.
Maybe not have to replace Jimmy, but maybe they can stay under Jimmy. But they know somebody will be here longer term, I'll say.
Guys, we could see three quarterbacks taken straight one by one, because I believe the Jets have the second pick, and, I hear they're looking for a quarterback as well. And now 49ers, you're not going to move to the third pick to pick, a lineman this year anyway, because, it's just so top heavy at quarterback this year. Yeah. What do you guys think?
No, I mean, I think you're not moving that amount of picks not to take a quarterback. I think they're gonna take a quarterback. I like Jimmy as a Pats fan. I always like Jimmy, but he's a broken man. Like, he's always getting injured. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunate. I'll welcome him back to the Pats though. I welcome him because Bill Belichick drafted him. Bill Belichick knows him well. I think Bill Belichick can put him in situation to succeed. I'm not saying Bill Belichick can stop him from getting injured, but I'll welcome him back and see if we can make something out of him. As much as Vonora likes Cam Newton, he's not it though.
Yeah, exactly. He sure ain't.
Barry, how you feel, Barry?
Yeah, I certainly. But first, I thought that it wasn't completely given that the 49ers were gonna draft their quarterback. After moving up to make that trade, but then as I've thought about it more, I, really, kind of came to terms that well, pretty much why else would they, be making that trade with the Dolphins and making that move up to number 3. If they weren't trying to take one of these quarterbacks, since this is a pretty good quarterback draft class coming out, with 4 really good prospects and really promising prospects, that could be do well in the league and be franchise QBs, in the NFL. So I think, it's unfortunate with what's happened with Jimmy G, and with the 49ers. As we know, he can not only stay healthy, but the relationship between Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, and Jimmy G also, I heard, is going sour and not very good at all. And Kyle Shanahan doesn't believe in Jimmy G, that he's the franchise, could be a franchise quarterback that actually leads them to a Super Bowl victory. Like, he led them to a Super Bowl, but unfortunately they came up short against the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes and the crew. So I think it's gotten to a point where it may be best for them to part ways, and for them to go in a different direction at quarterback, which like Vlad was saying, could open the door for the Patriots to be able to come in and make a trade for Jimmy G, since it makes him expendable now. So and I wouldn't mind actually seeing him back here either. I'd prefer him over Cam Newton, even as injury prone as Jimmy G is, because at least we know when he's on the field and when he's healthy, he can play and be a lot more better than what Cam Newton has. So I think that's what I think about that situation. And and I'm not buying these rumors saying that the Niners Patriots aren't pursuing the Jimmy G and that the Niners don't want to trade him. Like, I think it's a bunch of BS, to be quite frank. So I think there's still, a pretty good chance of that trade happening, particularly in the draft, which should be coming in about a month.
Right. The draft is actually April 29th. So we'll see how that unfolds. It should be pretty interesting. But I love the move by the 49ers. I love the excitement that creates, the frenzy that it creates around the other teams that actually want quarterbacks, and the Patriots are definitely one. Now we hear, rumors about the Patriots looking at the number 5th and the number 4th pick, trying to trade up to get a quarterback of their own. So it's an exciting time. And I agree with Barry. I don't believe the 49ers at all because, these guys say one thing and then boom, you're traded.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like them saying that is like,
no
all right,
credibility.
Pretty much you're trying to save your ass in case something happens. That's what you're doing. You're not really doing much other than that, deflecting everything. And news is they do have a big offer for Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're having a hard time making that decision. We'll see if that decision is so hard after April 29th. But some more moves in the NFL. Sammy Watkins signed with the Baltimore Ravens, the former Chiefs wide receiver who thought he was going to, be going to winning his 3rd Super Bowl this year. So not only did he not win another Super Bowl, he's going to Lamar Jackson. So good luck to that. Bucks signed all their free agent starters. They're the first team to do that since like the 1970s.
Crazy.
So
wow.
They said they were going to do that in the offseason. That's exactly what they did.
They're running it back. That's exactly how you run it back.
For sure. Some more guys signing. Carlos Dunlap, he's staying with the Seahawks. T.Y. Hilton is staying with the Colts. Malcolm Butler, the Super Bowl hero for the Patriots, he signed with the Cardinals, going back to the grounds where he actually made that interception. So that's going to be a home stadium for him. So good luck to him. Tevin Coleman signed with the Jets. Damian Williams from the Chiefs signed. Is signing with the Jets as well. I believe, is that right?
Who, Damian Williams?
Yeah.
He signed with the Bears.
That's what it is, the Bears.
Chicago
And I'm like, that doesn't
Bears,
sound right. Joe Flacco signed with the Eagles, which I know Joe Flacco was still playing in the league, but apparently he's still collecting checks.
Yeah, I knew he's still in the league only because he played against the Pats last year when Sam Darnold was out.
I know very well that Joe Flacco's in the league. I'm just like, why are you still in this league?
Like, no, right. He needs to retire for real.
What are we doing?
Hang it up.
Listen,
right, his time is come and gone. Right.
If I could warm the bench and collect checks, I would do that too. So more power to him. Like all I do is wipe up people's sweat and collect the check. I'm good.
Hold up a clipboard. And sit on the sideline with the earpiece.
Right, look at my wristy a little bit every now and then.
Okay, that's what they're calling,
Another quarterback, Marcus Mariota, restructured his deal with the Raiders. That actually opens him up to being able to be traded because I believe the contract that he had before, teams were not going to try and trade for that. So he'll be open to that if they want to trade him, if he asks for one. Mike Davis, the former, I believe, Panthers running back. He's signing. Yep. He signed with the Falcons. Adoree Jackson signed with the Giants. And last NFL news, they want to move to 17 games. All right. Now, this is something that they've been talking about for a while. And a lot of players don't actually like it. Right. So I saw Alvin Kamara came out and said this is dumb as shit on his Twitter. How do you guys feel about the league moving up to one more game?
I'm going to let you go first, Vonora.
Well, I love football, so I'm all for it. But I know that that's a lot on your body. So I get where the players are coming from with it. Like, they're the ones who actually got to play. And they're the ones that actually got to take these hits. Be working out hard to get that done. But as a person that loves to watch and consume, I'm excited because that means your team gets another chance to try to get in the playoff spot. So I can never be mad about that. But I totally understand that it's very taxing on your body as an NFL player, as a professional athlete, period. more games is more tax on your body, which means some people will retire early because that's a lot on them. So I can say that I understand where the players are coming from with this. The people that are making these deals are people that haven't touched no turf or grass. So that's why they can say these things. I think it's cool, but it's a lot. But I will definitely sit there and watch those games.
Watch it. As many as we can.
Vonora get to watch the Giants suck for one more week. I feel
We both got to sit on the sidelines of the playoffs. Y'all know why you doing
No.
it. Y'all got Cam. I got Danny. Let's not do this. We're both losing teams. We're both.
Listen, she'll have a front row in Washington while Giants beg them to lose the game so they can make the playoffs. Like, please lose this game.
Wow.
You're right in Washington.
You guys are next to the Jets in your division, so we can't.
What you mean? But we on the come up this year.
So
we on the come up. You see us making moves out here? We're making moves.
Listen,
we about to be a playoff
until I
team
see a move made.
Listen. The funny thing is, we did suck last year, right? And we still won more games than the Giants. So moving on.
Hold on. She got something else to say.
No, go ahead. I'm just messing. Go ahead.
Are you gonna say something, Benor?
I can't. What can I say to that? I'm gonna say again, we're on both on the sideline watching this whole thing turn out. Okay.
Hey, go ahead, Vlad.
17 games. So I love watching football, just like Vonora was saying, but the players need to get paid more. That's all it's about for me. Like, okay, you want us to play one more game, then make the cap make the cap bigger. You know what I mean? Make the cap bigger so that we can get paid a lot more. Because you can't pay me the same amount and expect me to work more.
Yep.
You know what I'm trying to say? So
right.
And the NFL players really don't get paid that much. Like only maybe like sub 10
upper echelon.
Sub 15% get paid really well. The rest of the league just don't get paid that much. So I don't mind the extra game. You know, I'm a football fan, so I'll sit and watch it. But I want the players to get paid. So let's have more. Let's have, what do you call that? When the players get paid. Wow, I'm blanking.
Like incentives or signing bonuses.
I think incentives, and they need to get their collective bargaining agreements looked over.
Exactly.
After the CBA,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, good point, Nora. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the money that they play is not guaranteed money. I want the amount of guaranteed money to go up. Like that's really what I was trying to say.
Definitely.
Like the NBA, when a player signed their deal, it's all guaranteed, but in the NFL, it's not that much guaranteed. So
you're right.
It's partially guaranteed.
I want to see the guaranteed money because the NFL just signed $130 billion TV deal. $130 billion. Like
they got the money.
It's not million, it's billion. So the players should be getting their fair share of that, and that's what it's about for me.
Yep. I agree.
I thank God. Certainly, as a fan, of the game in the NFL, as I am, I certainly like seeing the extra game because, more football, the better. And the longer the season goes, the better. The extra Sunday to, be able to, watch football games all day and watch the Patriots. So I'm certainly from that perspective, not complaining at all. But I certainly get from a player's perspective and standpoint, the frustration, that they have towards the league, because they feel like they're not getting well taken care of, and like you guys said, if this is gonna happen, well, this will be happening. The league has to do a better job of taking care of the players, and making sure that they're compensated well, and that they also, and the benefits when they retire, make sure they also get taken care of as well. Because some of these guys aren't getting taken care of when they leave the game, and they end up having health issues and stuff. So the extra game definitely takes a toll for sure, because guys are already struggling to get through a 16-game season, and being able to stay healthy. Like we just talked about how fragile and how injury prone and how made of glass Jimmy Garoppolo is, with the 16-game season. So not adding an extra game is certainly not going to help that case, as for many players who typically get injured. So that's, I feel like, what it comes down to, with this 17-game schedule. And as long as they do that, I think that, everything should be okay. And they certainly have the ability to do that, as you just said, with the TV deal. So, so you're right, the NFL has no excuse and no reason for not to, make that happen. And, for these players not to, get paid, a little bit more and have, a little bit bump up in their contracts, as they should be, and deserve to be, with what they, currently are, making right now.
Yeah. I think 16 games, I think if something's not broken, you don't need to fix it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I hope we're not adding a 17th game this year to make up in revenue that we lost last year, with the loss of the fans and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, that's part of the reason, John.
Right. See, and I think that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because last year wasn't nobody's fault, and now the players. Go ahead, Vlad.
I know what you're saying, but I don't think that's why they're adding it. I think they've been talking way before the virus.
Oh, I know. They've been talking about it for a few years now.
Season, so
and
whether the virus happened or not, I think they were gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
They have a reason to do what they're saying.
Listen, the league always talks about player safety, everything. And every year we see. Last year, player safety didn't freaking matter. We played every single games. The Patriots got hit by COVID. They flew us in 2 different planes to go play a game. Like, that was going to stop Corona from, getting into other guys. Like, it's ridiculous to me. I think the players have a reason to be angry for sure. And I'm not even thinking about the money at all. I'm just thinking about these guys' health, period. And what's happening with these guys, last year, within the first couple of weeks, we saw major injuries across the board from a lot of different players, and that's because we didn't have a training camp, no rookie camps, no veteran camps. And then guys came on without even an off season, without even the preseason games, and we're expected to play at a high level, and we saw what happened. And this year, I'm hearing some places might not even have a training camp, or not the training camp, but the preseason games. So, what's that gonna look like? I'm all about the player safety, and to me, a 17th game doesn't make sense. As much as I love watching football, as much as it sucks, we got to spend 6 months, without watching any games. It's still this is the most physical sport you can play. And these guys are breaking down like Legos, man. And I'm definitely not a fan of adding to that stress. And then you got to play in the playoffs too after that 17th game. So it's just it wasn't needed, in my opinion. But we know the NFL is all about money. All these industries are all about money. And they're going to do what they got to do to make as much money as possible. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what the stipulations for that is. But let's talk about some Patriots news. We talked about Jimmy Garoppolo. He might be on a trading block. 49ers got the 3rd pick in this year's draft. Will most likely pick a quarterback. And, it's been rumored that the Patriots have been pursuing Jimmy Garoppolo, but now there's another rumor that the Pats are not after Jimmy Garoppolo. So there's some confusion there, but don't be surprised if he ends up with the Patriots regardless, because that's just how the NFL goes. some more news. They've been talking to the Falcons and Eagles to move up to the draft. So I believe the Eagles are at number 6 now?
Yeah.
So they're thinking about moving up, and they're really trying to go after a quarterback. So there could be some guys coming up. And the Patriots also re-signed Lawrence Guy and James White, and then Jakob Johnson. And that's going to be it for our NFL segment. We're going to move into the MLB. We talk a little bit about the Red Sox.
Before we move to the MLB, I just wanted to ask Vonora about her Giants. What's going on with your Giants? Like, they suck right now. I haven't really heard them making any move right now. What's going on?
Wait, you talking about New York Giants?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we signed some people, so
They signed Galate.
Yeah,
Kenny Galate, yeah.
We made some changes now. Okay, we got some receivers, which we needed badly. We really needed receivers, so we got some of those. And our defense already was we had a strong defense, very stellar defense last year. So we made a few little additions there. Danny Dimes is in the vibe of, you know what? I'm back. I'm healthy. I'm running this.
Do you like Danny Dimes?
Yeah. You know what? I like Danny Dimes. Yeah. I'm
No,
buy his jersey. So
Jim Kelly came out and said that he absolutely could win a Super Bowl. And I almost spit out my water.
Jim Kelly said that? What?
Well, Jim Kelly
the same about Eli Manning, and then look, 2 Super Bowls. So I'm gonna say that.
Right, the luckiest quarterback ever to play the game.
Well, he did it twice on your best quarterback. So
right. He got lucky twice.
He got lucky twice.
It happens. Everybody gets lucky.
Listen, a dead clock is right twice a day, man.
Yeah, and what's up with what happened with Nick Foles?
Nick Foles.
So, anyway, I'm just going.
Vanora's choosing violence today. I don't understand.
Yeah, I woke up chose violence. If you came with me,
but let her finish though.
I was just sitting here being, polite, listening, and then y'all came with the Giants suck. What we do? Well,
I did.
It was that started and instigated and got you going. Yeah.
So we definitely picked up some receivers. We improved our offense. We need some offensive linemen. I'm hoping that during the drafts we get, that's what we need. It's our ultimate problem every year. So hopefully we attack that during the draft. And I'm actually excited for this season. I like where the Giants are moving. I like the vibes we're bringing, and we're already gelling as a team. So I see a great season is coming this way for the NFC East. On my side,
what's a great season to you?
Winning season, and hitting the playoffs. That's a great season for me.
So will they win the division? Will they win the NFC East?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Dude, all they got to do is win like 8 games, and they're in
Hey, man. How the system works, man.
That's it.
So
That's it.
I'm here for us to win out our division and keep moving forward. And let's see how I like the way my team is gelling right now. So I'm definitely with my Giants, and I like the moves that they have made so far.
All right.
Right. Another question I wanted to ask is, how do you feel about Saquon Bartley coming off that injury that he had to miss in most of, last season? Are you, concerned, with that, with how he's gonna come back? How are you feeling about him coming back into the fold?
The injury he unfortunately suffered is a hard injury to recover from and get back in the same momentum, because his physical build is heavy. He's a heavy dude. So that is allowing your legs. So what I've been watching as he's been rehabbing and recovering and going through his, whole process, he looks amazing. He feels amazing. And hearing him say these things, watching how I do work in healthcare, so I'm watching how his legs are moving, like the actual rotation of it. It's looking almost solid like it once was. So that's really good signs. And anybody with any type of leg injury or foot injury is very hard to recover, especially if you're running back or receiver. So the fact that he is recovering the way he is just showing a lot of hope. I think again, the mental is not clicked, then nothing else will. His mental is clicked in. So just seeing how he's rehabbing, how fast he's rehabbed as well, it's a great sign. I still don't think we should play. He should not even do preseason right now. I still want to continue to rehab and continue working out and building that muscle back the way it needs to be. But as of right now, I think he is definitely ready for the fall.
Gotcha.
So he'll be ready for week 1.
I think so.
For next season. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we're ready for week 1.
I mean,
Okay.
with how, medicine has progressed, like we see guys coming back from these injuries in 8 months. So he's had a good amount of time. I think he'll be all right coming back. And like I was saying before, we're gonna pivot into the MLB. But before we get into the MLB, we just want to say a very big thank you to Benor Lewis for coming on the podcast with us, for representing on Women's Month. And I believe, before you go, Barry has a question for you.
Okay.
Yes, I did. We wanted to ask you, Vonora, what advice do you have for, all the young, ladies out there and women who are looking to get into the, sports industry like yourself?
I would tell the young ladies out there like me that are looking to get in this industry, watch games and learn the stats. Learn stats and learn facts. Because no matter what, people will challenge you because of how you look, who you are. But if you can come with the stats and the facts, there's nothing they can say. That shuts down every debate. But as a debater myself, that's something that we are taught young, to know the stats and know the facts. And those are the two things that doesn't care, man, male, female, whatever. You brought that, you're always going to be able to make your point argument. And people have to respect you for it, or they don't have to, but they will have to just stop talking. When you're right, you're right. And when you have things to back you up, that is the way to not only be right, but be professionally right and continue to step on people's necks. My way of saying it.
Yeah.
You got like that answer. That's what's up.
No, that was great, and I hope the women, that listen to the podcast and want to start something on their own, I think that's pretty big, big advice, because all of us as sports podcasters, we got to know what the hell we talking about too. So again, thank you, Vonora.
And be yourself. Like if you're a quirky person, be quirky. Don't try to be, uptight people on ESPN, because you might not be that person. Your own brand is because of you. So it must be yourself plus the fact like that. Like we said before, that is the way to one. Like John said, you want to start your own brand or start your own podcast. That's the way to get people to listen and tune in and be involved, because you are being your authentic self, enjoying yourself, but you're still bringing facts and details and stats.
All right. Before you go, do you want to share your Instagram or whatever, whatever that has to do with your podcast and your foundation? If you want to just share that with the listeners and the viewers, that would be great.
Sure. Yes. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Nora, Nora _Natish, Natish. And I answer all DMs, and you can tweet me and fight with me. Don't care. That's cool with me. I'm always welcoming different competition or different words. Or you're welcome to come on my show, same thing. You'll get to see the VL Foundation is actually on my own Instagram and Twitter page for that. My Instagram page for the VL Foundation, which is my foundation, is the VL Foundation at Instagram, and you can find it there. On Twitter, it's Foundation VL, and those are the places you guys can keep up with what we're doing as we continue to grow and advance and get programs launched. That's where you can find it. Also, just me as a person, you can directly contact me on my social medias, and I respond back. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Great.
Appreciate you coming here.
Thank you, guys.
It was great. It was great bugging you about the Knicks and the Giants. Really enjoyed that. And you know what? If the Knicks are playing really well right now, so
I like the Knicks right now.
Yeah, me too.
Depending on how well they do, I would like to have you back to talk some Knicks and yeah.
Sure, I'm always willing to talk about my Knicks. And since y'all about to talk about baseball, go Yankees. If I talk about hockey, go Rangers and Islanders.
What are you talking
about? She had to go out on that note.
Had to.
And
Thank you
guys
so much for having
gotta
me on.
represent your team, so no, I respect it.
Of course.
No,
Y'all take
thank
care.
you,
Thank you
Vonora.
so much.
Yeah,
Have a good
thanks
one,
for
Vonora.
coming on here. Appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, my pleasure is all mine, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So on to the MLB, where guys, opening day is coming up. So we have a looming baseball season. Opening day is actually April 1st, which should be, I believe, Thursday.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty sure?
This Thursday, yep.
Yeah.
Because I know the 31st is a Wednesday, so yep, April 1st is Thursday.
Yeah, so, Red Sox getting back on it. Fans are allowed at the stadium, limited amount of fans anyway, but be on the lookout for those tickets because I know those guys want fans out there. All the players do. Eduardo Rodriguez actually was ruled to be the starting pitcher for opening day, but since then he has been ruled out for opening day with a dead arm. I don't actually know what a dead arm means. What does that mean?
So I think what a dim arm is that like there's just the arm is just tired because I mean he didn't really play last year. So I think since he's thrown a lot of pitches and I'm sure thrown at a high velocity, he probably just like needs to rest up that arm a little bit, and there's not really as much velocity and live on his pitches, as they were in the beginning of spring training. So I think they're just trying to give him a little bit of rest and, and bring that arm back to life again, which I'm sure it'll be. So I think that's just really what it is with Eduardo Rodriguez, especially since he had, COVID last year too. So, that he's still, well, not still recovering from that, but he's still working his way back, getting into the baseball routine.
Yeah, and due to that arm, Nathan Eovaldi will now be the starting pitcher for opening day. Another guy on the team, Matt Barnes, he actually tested positive for COVID-19, and since then, 8 Red Sox players are out due to contract tracing. So they make sure that the guys are healthy. So they're going to be in the COVID protocol. So baseball season is looming once again, and baseball fans get excited. I'm excited. I definitely want to try and get down to Fenway and take one of those games in if given the situation, social distancing and stuff like that. It'll probably make it for a little more enjoyable game because you don't have people walking all over you, you know what I'm saying? Because the stadium is usually packed. You can go to the concessions and actually get your food within 2 minutes as opposed to waiting in the line. So
or not having to wait in the beer line too long. Right.
Yeah. So
how many fans are they letting into the park?
So it's 12% of that are being let in the ballpark. I'm not exactly sure what that number is, but that's pretty much the percentage as of right now. That's
are you gonna
being allowed at games.
Are you gonna be at opening day, Barry?
That's a good question. I probably won't be at opening day, but I'll definitely be down and interested in catching a ball game pretty soon. Probably sometime in April or in the beginning of the season. I'd certainly be down to check out a game since I missed going to Fenway last year and and missed just going to games in general. So I certainly think that I'll be at a game pretty soon, and I'll let you guys know when I do go to a game and what my experience is in the ballpark.
Yeah, we should definitely get out to some games, and do some live stuff at them games. But we'll wait till we can actually all go.
Right. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like that.
For sure, man. And like we said, baseball is back, and happy for the baseball fans. On to the
Let's go Red
NHL.
Sox.
Right, go Red Sox.
Nation.
On to the NHL. We're talking a little bit Bruins since their little COVID hiatus. They've played a few games. It looks like they've played about 6 games and they've lost 3 and they've won 3. So they played the Penguins and they lost 4-1. They played them twice actually. The first time 4-1. The second time they won 2-1. First time they lost 4-1. And then they played the Sabres. They won 4-1. Then they played the Islanders and lost 4-3. Played the Sabres again, won 3-2, and then lost to the Devils 1-0. So, they're back into playing mode. Anything you're seeing out there that people should know about, Barry?
Yeah, no, I think, the team's definitely been affected from COVID. They don't look the same as and as good as they were before. They're still having, problems, particularly on offense, being able to, generate scoring chances and score goals. And they're also playing down to their competition. Like, these teams like the Sabres, who are pretty much the worst team in hockey. They had lost at one point 12 straight games and already fired their head coach in the middle of the season. The Bruins barely beat them 3-2. The Devils, who are another terrible team, continue to give the Bruins fits and struggle, and Bruins struggle against them, and they just beat the Bruins again 1-0. Even though there was some questionable calls in that game, but nonetheless, the Devils ended up winning that and playing better than the Bruins. And then they have trouble with the Islanders. They haven't beaten the Islanders this year. The Islanders have their number. The Bruins certainly have to, get back to, playing better hockey and, and scoring, goals offensively and playing better on that end. The goaltending's been all right. It could be better. With Tuukka Rask out, under the backups have played okay, but they could certainly be better on that end. But I think most what I want to see is just a better offensive performance, from the whole team, and putting pucks in the back of the net, because they're not doing that enough as of late.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Barry, for that update, man. Good luck to the Bruins, and hopefully they can recover from the whole COVID situation and get back to full strength.
Absolutely.
Soon. And, we're going to move into our last segment of the show, which is going to be the B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week. And I believe this week, once again, you got a really good one. So, Barry, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, John. Appreciate it. So, for this B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week, we had a individual who, is actually part of, the local team, New England Patriots. Did something, pretty amazing and really, and something that was, really great, and that really stood out, to me, and stood out to a lot of people, as well. He is, the Patriots offensive lineman, Justin Herron. So I know he's not one of the popular, Patriots players for, Patriots fans, but
because he was a rookie last year.
Right. They just drafted him last year, and he didn't, play that much, last year, since we didn't have too many injuries on the offensive line. So hopefully he'll get to play more this year. We'll see, what happens with that. But nonetheless, what he did this week was he actually ended up stopping a man from allegedly attempting to sexually assault a 71-year-old woman at a park on Saturday. So apparently they, like I was saying, there's a man who was trying to, commit, sexual harassment and sexual assault, and he, did his part to, prevent that from happening. And he was actually one of two men. There was another man that also helped out, with that as well. So he was actually honored, and presented the Outstanding Service Award by the Tempe police and the police department where this happened. So they awarded him and the other man that, who helped out with this, case as well. So, and a quote from him was that, "I'm a football player. I'm kind of big. I'm not trying to be too aggressive with people, knowing I could potentially hurt somebody. I do have a loud voice. I yelled, told him to get off of her, and then yanked him off. And I told him to sit down, and I told him to wait till the cops come." So it's great that, he was able to help out in a situation that, clearly needed help, and clearly the woman needed, assistance, from him. So I'm certainly glad that he was able to be a good Samaritan and, and help out with that and do his, part as, as a good, person would in that situation to stop something like that from happening, because that should never happen. But certainly I'm glad that he took action and was, active and aggressive in that, in that particular instance. So I'm definitely, proud of him, for that, and, proud that, he plays for the New England Patriots and that he stood up for what he believed in and stood up for what was right, as, we all should, at all times, regardless of, where we're at. If we see something wrong and someone doing something they shouldn't be doing, we should, step in and do our part to, prevent, that from happening. And I'm certainly glad that he did that. So, without further ado, I'd like to congratulate Justin Hearn and give him a shout out for being this week's B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week. And that's definitely that B Money Lifestyle.
Thank you, Bear. I appreciate that. And,
no
in a time when the NFL is in the news for people doing the opposite,
right?
For the wrong I'm glad.
Things. Right.
I'm glad, we got some people in there that know the right things to do and actually took action, and to hear a person's age, being attacked like that, it's like, I don't know. If I'm in that situation,
that's very, very scary and terrifying.
If I'm in that situation, I'd probably handle it a little differently. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have $1 million contract that I have to worry about. So, shout outs to him. And
no, definitely.
If you're still listening, if you're still watching, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share, like, comment, do whatever you got to do to support and get us out there. And as always, we appreciate y'all. Until the next episode, man. Peace out.
Peace, everybody. Have a good week. See y'all next week.